Maine? You know, Maine is actually the safest state out of all 50 when going off of the violent crime rates, at least from what I saw. So are there even 10 dangerous places to live in Maine?
Nope.
No, not even close. But can we rank the 10 most dangerous places to live in Maine? Oh yeah. And we're gonna go off of the violent crime rate for this list. That being said, let's see what's behind door number 10.
Number 10 is Bangor.
He had great credibility until he said that.
Bangor, more like bang bang, as in, not much of that goes on around here. Unless you're talking about 4th of July fireworks or possibly something else.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, you know, just, something else, you know, something else. All right, well, usually the larger cities in a state will find themselves on the 10 most dangerous list, so Bangor fits that stereotype. But then again, not really. Because when doing a search for crime in Bangor, not much comes up. The one thing that sticks out would be the woman who served time in jail for manslaughter back in 2002, who is now on the Bangor City Council. We can get into more of that in a different video. Stay tuned for a video on the 10 worst cities in Maine.
I wouldn't stay tuned for a video of yours even if I had to.
Hey, I wouldn't force you or anyone to do that, come on now. But I will force this 10 most dangerous places in Maine video onto YouTube, even if it doesn't make much sense. On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. The property crime rate is actually quite high at over 4,000 per 100,000 residents, so don't leave your bike out on your front porch. Yeah, might want to just keep that in the garage. If you don't have a garage, just don't have a bike. The violent crime rate, however, is 159 per 100,000 residents, so yeah, not much to be concerned about there, at all.
Gee, you think?
Look, I don't know what you expect from this list, okay? It's Maine, and according to the data that I've seen, Maine is the safest state in the US. Just, do yourself a favor and, look out for those lobster thieves. Yeah, you definitely don't want to run into one of those winners. But you know what? I think Jameis Winston would fit right in with this crowd.
He stole crab legs, not lobsters, you idiot.
Crab legs, lobsters, same difference. Number 9 is Rumford.
Where is that?
Rumford is not really close to anything. It's surrounded by woods and waters, and the closest larger city would be Lewiston, which is about an hour drive south. It's a beautiful area, really, until it's not. You'll be hacking up a lung by the time you come around the river bend. The Androscoggin River Bend, that is.
It's called the Androscoggin River, you blatant idiot. Learn how to pronounce before you talk crap.
I can't even pronounce half this shit.
Fine. The Androscoggin River. Androscoggin River, all right. Rumford is located along the Androscoggin River. The large paper mill dominates the town visually, and yeah, you'll smell it too.
Stings the nostrils.
But that's the smell of money, they say. Okay, so that must mean that I should just shut up and stop complaining about it, right? Because that's the smell of money. Unless it isn't. The median household income is just $29,200. That's it. The median household income in 2026 in Rumford, Maine is $29,200. That's like part-time work at the Dollar Tree, yo. Maine's minimum wage is $15.10 per hour, but in 2025 it was actually $14.65 per hour. So after doing some math, $29,230 over the course of a year is equal to 38 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. No paid leave, no days off, at the $14.65 per hour minimum wage in 2025. And that's the median household income in Rumford. Additionally, the poverty rate is 30%.
Wow.
Bet you feel pretty smart for putting all of that together, huh?
On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. Usually when cities see high poverty rates and low income levels, that will translate into high crime rates. Unless they don't, because the violent crime rate is half of that for the nation, and the property crime rate is around the national average. Not bad.
Then why are you saying that Rumford is the 9th most dangerous place in Maine? Get gone!
Visit to bless your nostrils with the scent of the paper mill? Stay because some angry blonde girl named Ann Assassin holding an I hate stupid people mug framed you for a petty crime, called the cops, and the cops believed her because the sheriff is her daddy. And in remote towns like this, there's not much that you can do about that.
I mean, you didn't even show Rumford Falls. You obviously have a slant.
Well, next up is another place that doesn't belong on a 10 most dangerous cities list. Unless it does, especially if it's a list for Maine. Number 8 is Westbrook.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you probably haven't, and you probably won't ever again. Westbrook is a suburb of Portland, and really, it's a fine place to live. And as being a suburb of Portland, the city continues to grow. In 1960, the city was home to 13,800 or so people, and today, it's home to nearly 21,000 people. Economically, the city is doing fine as well. It doesn't look much different than any other middle-class suburb in America. Poverty rate is under 10%, median household income above that for the nation. Yeah, not bad. Crime is really the only area that it ranks poorly in, at least when compared to other places in Maine, and that's where it ends, because nationally, the crime rate doesn't look that bad. The violent crime rate is 172 per 100,000 residents, while the property crime rate is 1,134 per 100,000 residents.
Wow. Better call the National Guard.
Both numbers are well below the national rates. Next up, we head out to the boonies, which isn't saying much because about 90% of Maine is the boonies. Number 7 is Ellsworth.
Is that even a real place?
Damn straight it's a real place. A real secluded place.
Ha! I can name 100 more secluded places than Ellsworth.
Ellsworth is about a half-hour drive southeast from Bangor. Go any further southeast and you'll be in Acadia National Park. Ellsworth is one of the larger cities along the rugged coastline of Maine, which isn't saying much, because today it's home to about 8,600 people or so, and it continues to grow in population slowly but surely. It's really not a bad small town. It's actually rather ideal if you're someone who's looking for a remote small town in the woods and waters of Maine. That's assuming you can find somewhere to work and you can handle the long winters and overall doom and gloom weather. At least the summers here seem like they would be amazing, but short. Like, very, very short.
Gee, you think?
On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. The violent crime rate is just over 200 per 100,000 residents, and the property crime rate is about 2,200 per 100,000 residents. Yeah, we're all the way at number 7 on this list, and we just now broke the 200 per 100,000 residents number with the violent crime rate.
You should, go apply for a job at a porta potty cleaning business. You'd be more useful there.
Well, next up, we head back towards the I-95 corridor, which is like where 90% of Maine's residents live. Number 6 is Auburn.
Never heard of it.
Hey, Ivana. Does Maine have any rappers?
If by rappers you mean a pasty white boy from Wells who claims to be awesome? Sure. But seriously, what kind of dumb question is that?
Oh, just wondering, that's all.
That's gotta be racist.
Well, how about you stop asking me idiotic questions and just get back to the story?
Okay, fine, geez. Look, Auburn is small. How small, you ask? Very small. Yet, it has somewhat of an urban feel, at least for Maine standards. Auburn is located right next to Lewiston in the south-central part of the state. It's home to about 24,000 people, and the population number has barely changed, going all the way back to 1950. When you add the population of Lewiston, the Auburn and Lewiston area combined is home to about 62,000 people, so yeah, it's definitely one of the more urban areas in all of Maine, which isn't saying much. Economically, Auburn is slightly below average. The median household income is $66,600 per year, and the poverty rate is 13.8%. Definitely not horrible, but just slightly below average. Additionally, there aren't really that many high-paying jobs offered in the area. Well, onto the crime rates, they say. Okay, onto the crime rates. The violent crime rate is 215 per 100,000 residents, while the property crime rate is noticeably higher than average at 2,400 per 100,000 residents, but neither of those numbers are anything to be concerned about, really.
Gee, you think?
Visit to shop at the Auburn Mall? Stay because you drove all the way here from Boston and you don't want to drive back until you get some sleep, so why force it, right? Just stay at a hotel. But the better question is, why did you drive all the way to Auburn from Boston just to shop at the Auburn Mall? You must be bored with your life or have nothing else to do or something, and yeah, that's really all there is to it. Well, next up is a town that I'd imagine is full of a bunch of people that are bored with their lives. Unless they're not. Number 5 is Presque Isle.
Don't do anything, guys. Just relax, all right?
Presque Isle might as well be in Canada because, honestly, it probably has more in common with Canada than it does with the US.
How offensive of you to make all of these assumptions about Presque Isle. We're not bored, and we're not Canada. I live here, and you're wrong about everything.
It's only 10 miles from the Canadian border. Plus, you have to drive an hour north from the second to last exit along I-95 until you get to Presque Isle. It's a 2.5-hour drive from Bangor, which isn't much of a large city unless you're from Maine, then of course it is. And it's a 4.5-hour drive to get to Portland from Presque Isle, unless you go 95 on I-95 like a speeding Mountain Dew drinking full-size pickup driving Hilljack. Then maybe it would be a 3.5-hour drive. Economically, there's not much going on for Presque Isle. Sometimes tourists will venture this far up north, but usually they'll be satisfied with other areas further south that most people can reach within a shorter drive. And of course, the coastline is a lot more popular. So Presque Isle doesn't really benefit from tourism like maybe some other small towns in Maine do. The median household income is about $20,000 per year less than that for all of Maine, while the poverty rate is about 5 percentage points higher than that for the state as well. On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. The violent crime rate is 219 per 100,000 residents, while the property crime rate is 2,100 per 100,000 residents, which is really not anything bad at all.
Wow. Brilliant analysis. Not.
And since we can't really head that much further north or east, we're going to head back south and west for the next place on this list. Number 4 is Lewiston.
Hell yeah, it is.
Lewiston? More like Depressington. Really, it's not all that bad of a place. For it being the second largest city by population in all of Maine, there's really not much that goes on here, ever, including economic opportunity. The median household income is $20,000 per year less than that for all of Maine, and the poverty rate is among the highest in the state, as it's at 20%. Lewiston really is just an old mill town that once relied on textile mills, paper mills, shoe factories, and the railroad. French-Canadian immigrants helped populate the city and give some manpower to the factories. But not no more.
Nope.
While blue-collar work is still a big part of the city's economy, Lewiston has slowly lost industrial jobs over the years, and it's never been able to evolve into a more modern economy. The city peaked in population in 1970 at around 42,000, and it's lost several thousand since then, as today it's home to just 38,000. For the crime rates though, Lewiston really isn't all that bad. The violent crime rate is 245 per 100,000 residents, while the property crime rate is 1,500 per 100,000 residents. Both rates are well below the national rates, yet Lewiston has the 4th highest violent crime rate in all of Maine. Well, hey, really quick, as if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to head on down below and hit like and subscribe. Doing that only takes a few seconds and it really helps out these videos within the YouTube algorithm. And if you don't, guess what? Your job is going to transfer you to Lewiston next week, and moving sucks, so you might as well do it.
Just do it!
Thanks. Number 3 is Augusta.
The fake news. It's fake. Phony. Fake.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Augusta is where the Masters tournament is.
Nah. That would be Augusta, Georgia, over 1,000 miles away. Don't let Tiger Woods drive you there, though.
Wow, bet it took you all night to come up with that one.
Not even being the state capital could save Augusta from this list. Once again, another city in Maine where not much happens. Outside of the state government jobs, there's little to no economy here whatsoever. And despite the state government jobs, the median household income is nearly $30,000 per year less than that for all of Maine. And the poverty rate is 18.2%. Plus, 52% of all households in Augusta make less than $50,000 per year. And that's right. So move here because you fall in love with Maine's natural beauty, leave because winter came, stayed longer than you thought, and you couldn't find any fulfilling work. Look, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I don't claim to be, but I hear that it's not a very good thing for a city or a region if people can't find work.
My uncle is an attorney in Augusta and makes 6 figures. Don't listen to this guy.
On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. The violent crime rate is 250 per 100,000 residents, but it's that pesky property crime rate that just stands out at over 4,000 per 100,000 residents. So if you want to live here, just mind your beeswax, don't join a gang, and don't steal ATM machines, and you should be good. Next up, we're going to the hood. Unless we're not, because does Maine even have a hood? Number 2 is Portland.
Duh.
I mean, it only makes sense. Portland is really the only city in Maine that could pass as a large city, and some would argue that it doesn't even do that. Portland, Maine really isn't even all that bad of a place. I would probably try to either live here or close by if I had to live in Maine. What can I say? I like civilization. I also like weekend escapes, and during the summer, I'd drive up north and check out the woods and waters all day, every day if I could.
Could you, stop talking about yourself and just get to the story?
On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. For Portland being the largest city in Maine and the second most dangerous city in Maine according to the violent crime rates, not sure what kind of numbers you would expect here, but here they are. Yeah, a below average violent crime rate and a notable above average property crime rate, but that's not even really all that bad.
Nope.
I mean, you might see some maniacs road raging around here, like anywhere, or you might see some loser attack a security guard at 3 in the morning, but not much else. Economically, the city does pretty well. The median household income is $82,000 per year, which is above that number for both the state and the nation, while the poverty rate is 11%. Most quote-unquote large cities have much higher poverty rates than that. So really, Portland isn't that bad of a city at all. It is very expensive though because it's a coastal city in New England. It doesn't help that Boston is only a few hours away. So if Portland is the largest city in Maine and it's not number 1, what on earth could be the city in Maine with the highest violent crime rate? Let's see what's behind door number 1. Number 1 is Biddeford.
I'm number 1.
How many of you have heard of Biddeford before? Anyone? 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 Nobody? No one? Okay.
Everyone in this state has heard of Biddeford? You should just leave Maine and never come back.
Well, Biddeford is in the far southern part of Maine, not far away from Portland. The population has stayed around 20,000 people or so ever since 1940. Wow. 80 years. That's a long time to stay around the same population number. Like, really long.
Gee, you think?
Biddeford originally grew off of the textile industry. These days, it's one of the more popular cities in Maine. It has a much younger crowd than the rest of the state, with the median age being 35, housing is affordable compared to other coastal cities in New England, and it's closer to Boston, or closer to any true large city than just about everywhere else in Maine, except the places that are further south than Biddeford. The ocean is right by too, which always helps. Following the trend of the cities on this list, Biddeford really isn't all that bad of a place. Economically, it does okay. The median household income is right around that for the nation. The poverty rate is a little bit higher, but it's not anything too crazy. I mean, you won't find any rocket science jobs here. Unless you will. Seems like Fiber Materials helps manufacture high-temperature materials and composites for use in defense, aerospace, and industrial applications, and for use in rocket motors, missile nose tips. Okay, guess I was wrong. You will find rocket science jobs in Biddeford, Maine.
Yes, science!
On to the crime rates, they say. Okay, on to the crime rates. The violent crime rate is the highest in all of Maine at 314 per 100,000 residents, while the property crime rate is 2,300 per 100,000 residents. Really, this video just kind of goes to show that there really aren't any dangerous areas in Maine when going by the violent crime rates. At least, definitely not when you compare it to other states in the nation. The bigger issue in Maine would be the lack of economic growth and opportunity, because there's basically no economy for like 90% of the state outside of tourism and logging. The further away you get from the coast, the less tourism you see. And those towns struggle economically quite a bit. Honorable mentions for this list includes nowhere, because, hello, nowhere in Maine has a violent crime rate above the national average. Come on.
Someone still should have stole your car when you were here.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, so there you have it. The 10 most dangerous places to live in Maine. What a joke. Let me know what you thought of this list down below in the comments. Did you think that there was going to be a city that made this list that did not? Let me know what you thought. That being said, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.